On the news, hundreds displaced as insurgents and bandits attack Borno, Katsina communities. Lawmakers passed revised 2020 budget after increasing benchmark to 10.8 trillion naira. And South Africa Air Force shuts headquarters as 2 officials test positive for COVID-19. Hello and thanks for joining us on News Now. I am Annetta Felix. After an attack on Tuesday night by suspected members of the Boko Haram sect, residents of Zoo, a village in Gombe town of Borno State, have been unable to return to their homes. The insurgents who stormed the village in large numbers shot at heavily armed men, women and children, killing dozens, while the state government and security officials are yet to release an official casualty figure. Witnesses say about 69 persons were killed in the attack. According to sources, the insurgents set the village ablaze after looting cows and other livestock, destroying dozens of houses and most of the village. The attack is the second in Borno State within the last 24 hours. It was also a dark Tuesday for residents of Kadiso town in Faskari local government area of Katsina State, where dozens of people were killed in an attack by suspected bandits. Witnesses say the invaders stormed Kadiso riding on over 100 motorcycles at about 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday and shooting sporadically. They operated for almost 2 hours and had left before security operatives reportedly arrived to the town at about 6 p.m. Confirming the incident, spokesperson for the Katsina State Police Command, Gambo Isa, said 20 people had died in the attack, while 26 others sustained injuries. The attack comes just hours after some youth staged a protest against incessant bandits' assault in the state. To further analyze this issue, I'm now being joined by the retired military officer and security expert, Colonel Hassan Stanley. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Stanley.
Thank you very much.
So these attacks are coming just days after the Army Chief, General Buratai, spoke about the successes the Army has been recording against bandits and the Boko Haram insurgents. So how do you then explain this? What do you think the country is not getting right here?
Yeah, well, we would continue to experience things like this, I must say, unless we're able to address some of the lapses, some of the gaps, some of the deficits that exist on ground. And what are they? It's of the security agencies to be able to meet up with the challenge on ground. For instance, besides the issues of manpower, which is now overflowed, we all know the entire security agencies in Nigeria have manpower deficit issue. Right now, what we are experiencing with banditry is that there isn't enough multimedia, I would say, mobility assets, such as helicopters, motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles. You see this last attack you are talking about, where the bandits were riding on over 200 motorcycle bikes. When bandits are operating right in the forest, armed with these bikes, and here you are, all you have are just motorable vehicles, okay, that cannot ply some of the bush paths. How do you get across to them? How do you access them? You need this multimodal, mobility assets to be able to reach them.
Fantastic solution there. Fantastic solution there, Stan Labo. Moving on now, there are reports that the insurgents are taking advantage of the possible diversion of focus created by the COVID-19 pandemic. Do you think this is the case?
Diversion of what?
Diversion of focus created by the COVID-19 pandemic. I mean, all the buzz right now is about the pandemic, but then we see insecurity issues. So do you think right now that they're taking advantage of the focus on the pandemic to wreak havoc on the country?
Yes, of course. The end staff, we must bear that in mind. The guys behind these bandits and even Boko Haram are very sound, well-educated chaps. They listen to us as we speak on radios and television. There are people who are well-learned. They strategize too, and so on. Of course, they know the entire country now have pushed all their attention into the issue of the pandemic on ground. And so they are exploiting that to see how much ground they can further gain. While
insights there.
Or while the country is concentrating on the pandemic, I expect the military to remain and concentrate on their own tasks in the long.
Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, Stan Labo. And away from security now to the National Assembly. Lawmakers at House of Representatives have approved the revised 2020 budget, increasing it from 10.5 trillion naira to 10.0805 trillion naira. The budget was passed after the lawmakers considered and adopted the report of the committees on appropriations and finance. In the report, the committee recommended a benchmark of 10.801 trillion naira. But the lawmakers inserted an additional 4 billion naira for the welfare of members of the National Association of Resident Doctors who have threatened strike action. The House also approved the request by President Muhammadu Buhari for the federal government to obtain external loans totaling $5.513 billion. Meanwhile, the Senate has confirmed Lamido Yuguda as the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. The upper legislative chamber also confirmed Reginald Karusa, Ibrahim Boyi and Obi Joseph as full-time commissioners of the SEC. Justice Taiwo of the Federal High Court Abuja has withdrawn from the hearing of a suit filed by the Coalition of United Political Parties challenging the proposed infectious diseases bill pending before the House of Representatives. The suit was filed against the leadership of the House of Representatives. However, when the matter eventually came up, Justice Taiwo expressed his displeasure over a possible misrepresentation of facts and returned the case file of the suit to the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court for reassignment.
We served the National Assembly, we served the clerk of the National Assembly. What he has been reporting is that there is an order asking them, enjoining them to stay put of their action. We were there on Thursday when he was called to come back. They did not sit. The doors were locked. We have to show it to the people that these doors were locked. This is where we are supposed to come back and sit with these people. But the doors are locked. The following day, what we heard is that there's a report from where? There's a report from the same committee that the court has enjoined not to do anything because the matter is before it. Then you took steps against the order of the court. The court never asked the speaker in person to appear before it. No. But he says, whatever you're doing, I am not granting this order, I am not granting this order. Show by affidavit of, by an affidavit, show cause why I should not grant these orders. And then it went out that the speaker was invited. From where? Read all the reports that he actually sent out. He never said that the speaker has been summoned by the court. No.
The judge's withdrawal follows the commencement of a public hearing on the controversial bill. At the hearing which held in Abuja, the bill met strong opposition from various groups, including the Nigeria Governors Forum and the Nigeria Labour Congress. The public hearing is billed to last for 2 days and will continue at the same venue tomorrow.
This act and the bill, both the Act, the Quarantine Act, and even now the bill, gives governors and states very scant operational space to maneuver. And even the limited space that was given in the Quarantine Act is being taken away by this bill that we're currently considering. The bill takes away the only authority the governors have to take specific steps and measures in their domains during an outbreak of an infectious disease. A situation where state governors do not have any power to make regulations in their states in the event of an outbreak of an infectious disease, or to declare any part of the state an infectious area, is not only inimical to the country's federalism, but also a recipe for disaster which cannot be managed by NCDC. The situation will pose a challenge if states need to urgently make regulations to control the further spread of an infectious disease where the president is yet to do so. And we've seen that in our current situation.
The categorization, particularly of the diseases under infectious diseases, And this to us is very worrisome because of the fact that I recognize that malaria and typhoid have been added. If I will be quarantined and my property will be confiscated, including forceful detention, I don't think any Nigerian will be spared. Rather than stigmatizing or criminalizing victims of those common but deadly health conditions, we urge the National Assembly to put in place laws and measures that will make Nigerians free from malaria, free from typhoid, and thereby making sure that every Nigerian is able to access quality health care.
And now to politics. The management of the University of Ibadan has confirmed that Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki graduated from the institution. This follows claims that he submitted a fake first-degree certificate. In a press statement signed by its registrar Olubumi Faluyi on Wednesday, the university said Obaseki graduated in 1979 with a second-class honors lower division. The statement adds that the records of his admission and graduation are intact in the archives of the university. Reacting to development via his Twitter handle, Obaseki said, "Posterity will always vindicate the just." The National Assembly Election Petition Tribunal, sitting in Abuja, has affirmed Smart Adeyemi as the duly elected senator representing Kogi West District. Former lawmaker Dino Melaye had filed a suit challenging the outcome of the election that held on November 16, 2019. Melaye had urged the tribunal to order a fresh election on the grounds that the election was marred by irregularities and non-compliance with the Electoral Act. But delivering judgment on Wednesday, the three-man panel unanimously dismissed the petition on the grounds that it failed to prove the claims.
The court, after going through the records of witnesses that came before it and all the written address filed by counsels, found that the petition was not proved by credible witnesses and therefore dismissed the petition. So what the court has confirmed, the court affirmed the return of Senator Smart Adeyemi as the Kogi West Senatorial District Senator representing the good people of Kogi West. And the court also, in their wisdom, said that the petition is fall short of proof required under our electoral jurisprudence.
In a landmark judgment, which is also unanimous, the true will of the people of Kogi West has been further manifested, and we are very excited, and we just thank God for it. We will appeal that our brother Senator Dino Melaye should just let peace reign and join us in building Kogi West.
This has further solidified the decision made by the people of Kogi West Senatorial District. We massively voted for Senator Smart Adeyemi because of his track record, because he has been tested before, and he's known as a performer.
43% of the world's poor people live in 3 countries, including India with 24% of the world's poorest people, Nigeria with 12%, and the Democratic Republic of Congo with 7%. The World Bank said this on Tuesday, adding that the 3 countries have the highest share of the world's extremely poor and that they are not projected to grow faster than their population. This means that extreme poverty will remain at the elevated 2020 levels through 2021. The bank's now warning that the number of people living in extreme poverty is expected to remain unchanged after a huge surge this year due to the coronavirus pandemic. The World Bank's also warning that the pandemic could bring between 70 and 100 million people into extreme poverty as the global economy faces its worst recession in 80 years. We'll take a break here, but still to come. Nigeria records highest single-day COVID-19 rise as national toll reaches 13,464.
On TV360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that the girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that
TV360, providing clarity to issues.
You're welcome back. Here are some of the stories that we've been bringing you at this hour. Armed bandits kill over a dozen in fresh attacks in Katsina State. The House of Representatives has passed the revised 2020 budget after increasing the benchmark to 10.8 trillion naira. Judge withdraws from suit on control of infectious disease bill as public hearing begins in Abuja. We'll begin our COVID-19 coverage with the latest data from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, confirming the emergence of 663 new cases of the virus. According to the data, the new cases brings the national tally to 13,464. Of the new cases, Lagos had the highest number with 170, while 108 were from Ogun, 69 from Bauchi, 49 in Ebonyi, and 33 in Edo. Also, the number of recoveries increased significantly to 4,206, while 4 deaths were recorded on Tuesday to move the fatality toll to 365. 3 commissioners in Gombe State have tested positive for COVID-19. Gombe State Commissioner of Information and Culture, Ibrahim Al-Hassan, announced this when speaking to newsmen on Tuesday. Al-Hassan explained that the COVID-19 status of the infected persons was discovered after all 21 commissioners in Gombe and the governor's aides took the test. He also confirmed that the test results of one of the governor's aides and 5 members of the Gombe State House of Assembly came back positive. Gombe State has now recorded a total of 234 positive cases of COVID-19, with 33 active patients and 134 others discharged. In Nasarawa State, resident doctors and other health workers at the Dautatu Araf Specialist Hospital in Lafia have embarked on a 7-day warning strike to press for improved welfare. The health workers include the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, Association of Resident Doctors, and the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Chairman of the Nurses and Midwives Group, Alizi Maga, who spoke on behalf of the union, said the strike became necessary following the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum given to the state government. Maga said their demands include provision for adequate protective gear, implementation of COVID-19 hazard allowances, as well as an insurance scheme for their members fighting the pandemic. He added that the unions also wants the implementation of their pending promotion of 13 years. The South African Air Force SAAF says it has temporarily closed down its headquarters in Pretoria after 2 officials tested positive for COVID-19. The 2 individuals have since been quarantined according to the South African National Department of Health Protocol and Regulations. It also asked all employees who came in contact with the positive persons to immediately isolate and get tested if they exhibit any symptoms. As of Tuesday, South Africa had recorded more than 22,900 confirmed cases of COVID-19 and over 1,100 deaths. The country has so far conducted a little under 1 million COVID-19 tests so far. Paris Club, a group of some of the wealthiest countries' creditors, have announced waivers for Pakistan, Ethiopia, Chad, and the Republic of Congo. According to the latest data from the club, Pakistan owed its $10.8 billion by late 2018, while Chad, Congo-Brazzaville and Ethiopia have combined obligations of $1.31 billion. 31 countries, including 22 in sub-Saharan Africa, have applied for the suspension under the agreement by the group of 20 leading economies to help the world's poorest nations with the COVID-19 pandemic. The initiative was meant to freeze around $11 billion in bilateral debt payments this year. We'll take a break now and bring you up to speed with business stories after this break.
Corruption not in my country. Give him his shoes somewhere here, his phone and everything.
Don't do like that again.
Thank you. So, bye-bye. Hey, Oga, where do you think you are going? Go.
You never shake body.
Eh?
You never shake body.
Shake body? See?
Eh? You never shake body.
Eh?
You never shake body.
I don't get combo for my body.
You go take for here. Sit down there.
Down.
What's this man still doing here?
They say I do shake body. I shake body, I shake body. They say I do this. And I say I don't get color.
You are asking for money.
Sorry, ma'am.
Asking for money to bail a suspect is an act of corruption. Both of you will be punished. Corruption is not allowed within the force. Remember,
police is your friend. Giving and taking bribe is wrong.
Corruption, not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
Corruption not in my country.
You're welcome back, and here's Fidelia Aguncha with business updates.
Thank you very much, Annetta. The federal government has suffered a revenue shortfall of about 1.01 trillion naira in the first quarter of this year, owing to the negative impact of the coronavirus pandemic. The drop in revenue, according to documents obtained from the Budget Office, was primarily due to the dwindling revenue inflow into the Federation account. For instance, out of the protracted revenue target of 1.96 trillion naira set for the first 3 months of this year, the federal government could only earn about 950.55 billion naira. Based on the analysis of the revenue projection, the 1.01 trillion naira shortfall represents a decline of about 52%. The World Trade Organization, WTO, has confirmed the nomination of Nigeria's Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala and 3 others for the post of its Director General. President Muhammadu Buhari had nominated Okonjo-Iweala, a former finance minister, for the position of DG at the WTO to replace Roberto Azevedo, who will step down on August 31st, 2020. A statement by the WTO website said after the nomination period has closed, candidates will be invited to meet with members at a special General Council meeting, present their views and take questions from the membership. Other nominees for the post so far include Jesus Saad Kuri of Mexico and Abdelhamid Mado of Egypt. We will now shift focus to the stock market after this break. Stay with us. Amid news of falling oil prices and a shortfall in projected revenue, Nigeria's equities market is recording its first drop since the start of trading this week, and massive sell-offs in key industrial goods equity also heavily impacted the market's performance. The bear drag clawed the market's all-share index by 120 basis points, pushing the value down to 13.15 trillion naira from the 13.216 trillion at which it began trading today. Now, in the past 2 days, the market has been going in the same direction as BUA cement, and today is no different. The industrial goods equity, which led the pack of gainers yesterday after announcing a 25.1% increase in revenue, is in the opposition camp today, topping the list of 20 losers and losing the exact amount it gained on Tuesday. It was also a bad day for UACN PLC, CNI Leasing, and Guinness PLC. On the flip side, we see that Okomu Oil, Bega Paint, UPD Credit, and Namet managed to chalk up some gains before the close of trading today. And the market summary shows that 266.6 million equities were transacted in 3,978 deals. Well, let's now move to the global scale. We can see that the FTSE and Dow are falling as investors become risk adverse while awaiting the U.S. Federal Reserve's first projection on the economy since the coronavirus outbreak, while the Nikkei is posting gains for the second consecutive day. And according to analysts, it's almost about to wipe out all the losses it has incurred since the start of the COVID-19 outbreak. That's it from the world of business. It's back to Annette Felix.
Thank you, Fidelia. Moving on now, Darfur militia leader Ali Kushab is in the detention center of the International Criminal Court, ICC, after surrendering in the Central African Republic. The court issued an arrest warrant for him in 2007, accusing him of persecution, murder and rape in the Western Sudanese region of Darfur between 2003 and 2004. Prosecutors say Kushab was a top commander of pro-government Janjaweed militias that led attacks on towns and villages and is implicated in at least 199 murders and the forcing of 40,000 mainly fur civilians from their homes. Kushab is the first Sudanese suspect taken into ICC custody in The Hague. Former Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir is also wanted by the ICC. He faces charges of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity for atrocities committed by pro-government forces in Darfur. Turning now to sports news, the league management company LMC has denied reports that Nigeria Professional Football League clubs will bear the cost of COVID-19 tests for their players and officials. Chairman of the LMC, Shehu Diko, disclosed this in a tweet following reports suggesting that the 20 MPFL clubs could not afford a combined 50 million naira for the tests per game if the league resumes as planned. Diko said the LMC or NFF or Sports Ministry never said so or discussed this with anybody or proposed this for any club to pay for any testing when and if the need arises, talk less of doing testing before every match. The Minister for Youth and Sports, Sunday Dare, had earlier said that players and coaches of all MPFL clubs must undergo tests before the league could resume. Plateau United, with 49 points, are top on the MPFL after 25 games. They enjoy a 4-point lead over second-place Rivers United and 6 points over third-place Lobby Stars. And that's it on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. I am Annette Felix. Thank you for watching.